Hi everybody, my name is Nick O'Brien. Today we're going to show you how to properly set up your dish room, go through a normal shift, and close down. To start off, you'll come in to see your cutting boards all drying. You're going to need to take those down, make sure there's no film on any of them, make sure they're all clean, and then set them up properly on their respective lines. Alright, so when you set up your detergents and your sanitizer sink, you want to start off with your detergent on your far left, so that you build into your sanitizer sink and up to a clean dry rack. When you set up your pot and pan detergent, you want the water as hot as you can stand it for sanitary reasons. Continuing your setup, you want to go ahead and get a scouring pad wet and get all the excess grime from any previous shifts off of your surfaces so that you're starting with a nice clean surface. Be sure to get all the hard to reach spots, even if it takes another minute to get it done. After setting up your 3-compartment sink, you also want to set up your in-house bus and dishwasher area. First step is to get a bus tub and fill it with your quat detergent for hand washing. This is the exact same water that we put into our 3-compartment sink, and again you want it as hot as you can stand it. Fill your bus tub up about halfway, and then set it off to the side so that you can hand wash all your dishes before putting them through the dishwasher. After you've got your hand wash bus tub set up for your dishes, your next step is to set up your autochlor dishwasher. This is a very simple process. All you have to do is place it in the metal filter, down into the teardrop area, and then you place the plunger down inside of that, and it'll rest in there. To fill the dishwasher, all you have to do is hold fill for 10 seconds. As you can see, that 10 seconds will allow the water level to get just below this metal filter, or just above this metal filter and just below the metal wall, right there. Now you've got a full dishwasher prepared and ready to go. You want to come to your dry area, your clean area, and make sure that all soap scum and any standing water is gone. And of course, if there is any, the easiest thing to do is grab your green scouring pad and come back over. Get any food particles or any residue off to the side, because it's our clean area and we need to make sure that it stays as clean as possible throughout the shift. This area should be cleaned at least 3 to 5 times per night so that you're making sure all of your dishes are clean. After you've gotten it cleaned off with the scouring pad, you want to come back through with a sanitized rag and get all the standing water off of your clean side. You'll go over and do the exact same thing with all your above head racks and make sure there's no standing water inside and no water spots or any soap scum on the outside. It's absolutely necessary to take all of your drying racks down off of your overhanging racks in order to clean that actual shelf. Again, you use your scouring pad and your sanitizer rack to clean all that soap scum off. After you've gotten your overhead racks cleaned and sanitized, you're ready to put those racks back up. And after you have everything set up, you're ready to start doing dishes. Before you get started on cleaning any dishes, you want to make sure that all of the clean dishes that are drying from the night before are put up and stored properly. Any Lexans that are drying go back into your prep kitchen. And any drying plates or in-house dishes go back to the Now we're going to go into our 3-compartment sink, which is our prep dishes and anything that's used in-house and not given to customers. When you're using your 3-compartment sink, you want to set it up as efficiently as possible. In this location, we have our 3-compartment sink attached to our dishwashing area, so we try and use the community space over here for our dirty dishes. And then we push down the line towards clean dishes. The first step to cleaning any Lexan or any dish is to rinse it off to make sure that your quat sink stays as clean as possible throughout the night. A sprayer will always give you a good rinse, and you can come back through for a detailed clean in just a moment. After you have it sprayed off and rinsed off, you want to be sure and just toss it into your quat sanitizer sink. Quat detergent sink. The main things you want to focus on any dish, but especially these Lexans, are your ridges and your corners. So you come in, you give a nice, quick overpass of a wipe to make sure that you get any excess food or liquids off of the pan, and then you come back through and you pinch between the rag or steel scrubber or scouring pad that you're using between the ledge and the top, so that you're making sure to come through all of this corner and get it clean. Same with your interior ledges. You bring it down and you apply pressure to the rag on that ledge and clean around the side. After you've cleaned it off, you want to rinse all of the quat detergent off of there prior to putting it into the sanitizer. That's just a quick wash to get all of that detergent off and then into your sanitizer sink. Once you have it in the sanitizer sink, you want to let it soak for about 5 to 10 minutes. And you can of course fill the sink up with as many dishes as will fit into your water. Take it out, you give it one more spray off, and then it's onto your drying racks. Let it dry prior to being placed away. The next dish we're going to go over cleaning in our 3-compartment sink area is our dough trays. As you can see, throughout our shift, dough builds up everywhere on this dough tray, front and back, inside and out. In all the crevices that you can see, dough and flour will be built up. Your job as a dishwasher is to make sure that all of that flour and dough has been removed, not just some, all of it. The first step to cleaning your dough trays is to let them soak to easily remove that dough with warm water. Not sanitizer water, because that will waste our product. So you will always have a nice water fountain or water faucet right here underneath your sinks to fill up. A nice level ½ inch of water will do just fine to let that dough soak and make it more malleable to take out. You can always let multiple dough trays stack in your dirty dish area. You can stack them up, let them soak for about 5 or 10 minutes, and work them into your dishwashing process throughout your evening. Once your dough has soaked, there's many options to get the excess dough out, but you have to get it out so that it doesn't clog up our drains and hurt our plumbing system. The most commonly used option is to just take a dough scraper, run through it, take all of your dough out of the edges, all the excess dough out. With your excess dough out onto your dough scraper, you can dispose of it in the nearest trash can. This dough scraper can now be left inside of your quat detergent sink so that you can use it for more dough trays throughout the night. Now that you have all of the excess dough out of your dough tray, it's a great idea to come through and use your sprayer to get any more off. So as we come into our quat detergent area, it's best to load as many as you can stand into your sink as possible so that you can get them all done in a timely manner. Again, just like with the Lexans, you want to come into your dough trays and get all of the excess off with a nice wipe over. Don't worry about the mess, you are going to get wet in the dish area. Once you've gotten a quick wipe off, come by your excess water and come through to all your corners and ridges and make sure you've got all of the excess dough and any particles out of it. There are several different types of dough trays used in the 575 company, and no matter what the style, you want to be sure to get all of your ridges cleaned up, both inside and out. That includes coming to the lip, running your rag through, and making sure you don't have any food particles on all four sides. Once you've gotten all the food wiped out, you can now spray it down and move into your sanitizer sink. Prior to moving towards your sanitizer sink, be sure and wipe your hand through all your corners and edges to make sure you don't feel any food on the surface of this dough tray. Once you're satisfied there, you can move into your sanitizer sink. Dough trays are very large and cumbersome, so a lot of times you have to get into your sanitizer sink and make sure that the water gives an even dispersed over the entire dough tray. Flip the dough tray and do it again. And again, always double check front and back. After that, spray down. Get all that sanitizer off of it. And it's to the drying rack. An empty drying rack will hold about 5 dish trays at a time. If you don't have room for that, put as many up as you can. Let your dough trays dry for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then it's off to their respective areas within the kitchen. The last dish that we're going to go over in our 3-compartment sink area is our in-house utensils. This covers whisks, this covers knives, this covers dough scrapers. The main points you need to worry about are just like all of our other dishes. You need to get inside of any odd-shaped items and get all of the food particle off. Just like with a whisk, you want to make sure and get your rag underneath all the inside as well as the outside. The biggest step to remember is if you have knives, do not place them into the sink. Take all of your knives, clean them with your hands through and put them into the drying compartment on their own. You might want to gather all your knives to make sure you do them all at the same time, but do not leave them in the sink. This is a very large hazard for anybody's hands. Alright, I'm Nick O'Brien. Today we're going to go over how to do our lobby dishes through our AutoChlor dishwashers. The first dish we're going to go over are glasses. The main points you want to know with glasses is obviously to get any liquids or citrus or ice out of the cup prior to washing. You can dump that into your spray sink and then straight into your hand washing bucket to give it a good rinse out and make sure all lemon seeds or citrus seeds are out of there so they don't plug up our dishwasher later on. Also, you want to look for any women's lipstick around the edges and make sure all of those grease spots are cleaned off. Once you have that, you're going to come and grab one of your tray carriers, set it on your dirty side, and make sure it's loaded down with a full rack of cups. Once your rack is entirely loaded, you can now press it through the dishwasher. All you have to do to make your dishwasher run a cycle is simply close your doors after it's set up. The next dish we're going to go over is our in-house plates that come from our front of house lobby back into our dishwashing area. Again, these are going to go through our AutoChlor system once we're done. However, we have to hand wash all of our plates prior to going onto our racks into our dishwasher and ready to dry. We do this so that we make sure that our customers get quality dishes that have no film or grease or food particles on them. We try and be the best, and having any of that is not. It's a very simple process. You come in, you dip it into your quad detergent that's in your hand washing bucket, and you run either a scouring pad, rag, or steel scrubber over your plates. Just like we've done with all of them. Get the top clean, dip it in, check the bottom, get the bottom clean. Make sure there's no food particles in any of your ridges. Then you load it into your rack to send it through the dishwasher. One of the biggest issues we have in our kitchens is making sure that all of our dressing ramekins get cleaned properly. The correct way to do this is again to dip it into your quad detergent hand washing bucket, come through, get the outside first, get any excess food particles off the outside, any dust, any food particles that are built up, and then you come through on the inside and be sure and stick your finger in on top of your scouring pad or rag to make sure you get that interior ridge clean. Once you can see that there's no food particle in that ridge, you want to dip it again, dump it out, and make sure you go back through with your finger to make sure it's clean. That process should only take about 10 seconds to get done, and it will save you so much time in the future. The next piece of dishes we're going to go over are silverware. All of our utensils have to be cleaned by hand prior to going into the dishwasher. It's very simple to grab a large group of silverware and clean them each one by one, and then put them into your to your cleaning rack. Whenever they're in the cleaning rack, they need to be into each slot in a random order with the bottom side down and the top side up. The reason we keep them in a random order is because if they are in there organized, there's a very strong potential that the water pressure will press them together and not allow any water to get in between and clean all of the ridges inside. That's another reason we go through with our hands on every single dish and clean them by hand and then push them through the dishwasher. After you've gotten them all set up, slide them into your dishwasher, close your dishwasher, and let them run through a cycle and check all your silverware. After all of your dishes have been pressed through your dishwasher, you want to set them out onto your dry side for 5 to 10 minutes to allow them to dry and then be placed into your clean storage area. Whenever you come to your dish rack, you want to pull all of your dishes out and check both sides to make sure that there's no food. If there is any food on a dish, from silverware to plates to ramekins, you have to push them back through. Any food buildup or particles that have not been cleaned up need to come off. It is imperative that all of our dishes are clean so that our customers get the absolute best service they can, and we're not wasting any time getting these foods from dish area up into serving area. Hi, my name is Nick O'Brien, and today we're going to go over the closing duties for a closing shift and dish. The first step in that is making sure that all of your clean and dry dishes are put up in their respective areas. If you need help, always feel free to ask anybody in your kitchen to help you place these up while they're going about their usual closing duties. After you have everything placed away, you want to put your drying racks up on their storage spots, making sure that the shelf they're going on is also clean, so that when they come in for their next shift, they have clean racks and clean shelves to set up. Now you want to go through with a squeegee and make sure that all of your standing water is off of any surfaces that will collect. After you have those surfaces squeegeed off, you come through and again get all standing water or any soap scum buildup off this scouring pad. Once you've done that, you come through with a sanitizer rag and you wash all of that standing water out into your dishwasher or an appropriate drain. The next step is to close down your dishwasher. That's very easy. It's the exact opposite of setting it up. Pull your plunger from your teardrop area. That'll allow all your water to run down and out. Then you pull your metal filter out and make sure that it gets cleaned and that there's no food particles in that. Likewise, you want to come through to your dishwasher and make sure there's no food particles inside or down in your filter area in the teardrop. Always be sure and clear all those food particles. Then, you want to come through to all of your stainless steel surfaces and get any standing water or food buildup off of it. It shouldn't take very long. It's a quick process. All of these materials are stainless steel, so it's easily wiped clean. Do not allow particles to build up, as you can see like this. Once those areas have been scrubbed, you can come back through with a sanitary rag and make sure that they're thoroughly clean and get any standing water off. The next step is to make sure all of your sinks are clean and have no tea residue or any food particles inside of them. Once you've gotten it all scrubbed down, give it a good spray. Repeat this process with your exterior surfaces and all your sinks and any stainless steel that you see. After you've done that, be sure and get your exterior surfaces of your sink. And get all food particles and soap scum and standing water off of there. Same with any shelving area that might be within your dish area. You You want to be sure to get all particles off there, as well as the legs of your sink. And after you're done with the scouring, guys, again, come through with a sanitizing rag. And wipe that sink down, get all that built up water and soap scum off there. After you've scrubbed and wiped down all of your stainless steel surfaces, you want to come through with Satin Shine, which is provided by us from Cisco, and clean off all the areas to make sure you have a nice clean shine on your stainless steel. It's a very simple process. Make sure you give your bottle, your can, a good shake, and then an even layover. Then take a dry rag and you wipe that with the grain of the stainless steel. As you can see, that produces a nice clean shine in comparison to a dirty side. The next step in the closing process we're going to go over is cleaning all of our plumbing pipes and floor drains. It's a very simple process. Again, you can use a green scouring pad, a stainless steel scrubber, or a sanitizer rag. The only thing you have to make sure you do is make sure that all of these white areas get good and clean. The next stage is your floor drains. These floor drains will probably have to be revisited a couple of times in the night. You want to hit it the first time just to be sure and get all of your excess buildup from grime and grease and any soap scum that might be pulled into these floor drains. Start with your edges and work your way down. You can always pour hot water into these floor drains as you clean it to make sure you have plenty of water to get it all nice and clean. After you've satin shined and cleaned all your stainless steel surfaces, the last step before closing down all of your sinks is making sure all of your cutting boards are cleaned off. Now, there's several different methods, but the very most important thing is to make sure that all of the grime and all the food particles have been thoroughly cleaned off of your surfaces. It's best to use either a green scouring pad or a metal steel scrubber to get all of this food particle out of any ridges that have been created on your cutting boards. After you've gone through and thoroughly scrubbed each side and made sure that all food particles are off, you can now place them into the appropriate drying areas for the night. The very next step in our closing down process is to be sure that you've squeegeed, swept, and mopped your floors. You always want to make sure and squeegee all of your excess water into your floor drains. Back all the way as far as you can to get any excess food and any dust out of all the corners in the room. Pull all of your trash cans out of their designated spots and sweep behind them. The last step in the closing process is to get the mopping done of the entire area. You want to be sure you have a clean mop head for every time you mop. This is to fill your mop bucket. It's a very simple process. The water is already as hot as it should be. You just come to our autocooler system, you raise up, and you press in. That'll lock the system, and it'll start the water flowing and fill up your mop bucket. After your mop bucket's done filling, simply press in to release it and let it down. So you dip your mop into your clean water, place it into the wringer entirely, making sure that no loose strands are out. Close your wringer down on your mop to get all of your excess water out. Drag it out onto the floor, and again, be sure to get all the way back into all the cracks, all the crevices, and make sure you're getting any stuck-on food particles off of the floor. This might just require a little elbow grease, but you will get them up. Get back towards your door so that your mop area stays nice and clean. Once you get all the way back to the kitchen, you can dump your mop water into the mop sink, place your dirty mop head into the hamper, and be out for the night.